Good morning or good afternoon. It's a pleasure to present our work about open innovation in family firms, an analysis on high-tech firms for cultural goods. We really hope that, even if online, you'd like to share with us your critiques and suggestions. My name is Elena Casprini, and I am a senior researcher in management at the Department of Business and Law of the University of Siena. Today I'll present a paper that I have co-authored with Professor Tommaso Pucci and Professor Lorenzo Zanni from the Department of Business and Law of the University of Siena and Professor Hans Rüdiger Kaufmann from the University of Applied Management Studies Mannheim in Germany and the University of Nicosia in Cyprus. But let's see our paper in detail. As the title suggests, this paper is about two main topics: open innovation and family firms. In one of the most famous papers on innovation in family firms, about the ability and willingness paradox, Professor Casprini and colleagues 2015 argue that, in their attempt to preserve control over innovation, family firms do not have the same inclination to engage in open innovation. We were very intrigued by this quotation for three main reasons. First, open innovation comprises multiple processes. Second, there is a lot of heterogeneity in terms of innovation outputs. And finally, not all family firms are equal. In this paper, we have focused on the first two reasons. But let's see what the literature tells us. As you probably know, open innovation is defined as the use of purposive inflows and outflows of knowledge to accelerate internal innovation and to expand the markets for external use of innovation, respectively. The new product development funnel is open for letting external knowledge comes in and internal knowledge comes out. Being more precise, literature has identified three open innovation processes: inbound, outbound, and coupled. Inbound open innovation consists in sourcing external knowledge and acquiring inputs throughout in licensing, for example. Outbound open innovation refers to the out-licensing and the revealing of internal resources. Coupled open innovation relates, citing Professor Henkel and colleague, to co-creation with merely complementary partners through alliances, cooperation and joint ventures, during which give and take are crucial for success. These three processes have been studied extensively by previous research, especially with respect to their impact on the product innovativeness. However, product innovation is only one type of innovation output. In fact, innovation outputs are heterogeneous and can be related to products, so whether we have new products or services, but also processes, so if we are in front of new technological research and development processes, but also organizational innovation. For example, new business management systems, new business practices, new organizational structure, and new staff development programs. Indeed, some of them are less studied than others. So, Our first broad question is related to understand to what extent open innovation processes a company's innovativeness. And more precisely, we look at hypothesis 1, inbound open innovation process influences product innovation, process innovation, and organizational innovation. Hypothesis 2, coupled open innovation process influences product innovation, process innovation, and organizational innovation. Hypothesis 3, outbound open innovation process influences product innovation, process innovation, and organizational innovation. Then, a second important piece of our research has been focused. Then, a second important piece of our research is to focus on the family dimension. A family firm is defined as a business governed and or managed with the intention to shape and push the vision of the business held by a dominant coalition, controlled by members of the same family or a small number of families in a manner that is potentially sustainable across generations of the family or families, citing Professor Chua and colleagues, 1999. We know that family firms are unique in terms of goals, resources, and processes, and previous studies on open innovation in family firms are scarce and very recent. For example, some empirical evidence about innovation in family firms has demonstrated that family and non-family firms differ in terms of product innovation process, search breadth, networks of relationships. However, family firms have unique governance structure and unique social capital that might facilitate knowledge transfer. As a consequence, we look at the impact of being a family firm on the previous relationships. So we look at hypothesis 4, family firms engaged in open innovation will exhibit higher product innovation, process innovation, and organizational innovation than non-family firms. Hypothesis 5, family firms engaged in coupled open innovation will exhibit higher product innovation, process innovation, organizational innovation than non-family firms. And hypothesis 6, family firms engaged in outbound open innovation will exhibit higher product innovation, process innovation, organizational innovation than non-family firms. In order to test our hypothesis, we used a unique sample consisting of 119 Italian firms that apply high technology to cultural goods. We adopted a hierarchical moderated multiple regression analysis, and we used for the independent variables a multiple item scales, so looking, for example, with respect to inbound open innovation at items such as in licensing, purchase of external R&D services, and crowdsourcing, and other items for the outbound and the coupled open innovation. For what concerns our dependent variables, we used a validated scale by Calabro and colleagues 2016. For example, organizational innovation is linked to the development of innovative business management systems. And then we also used as a controls size, age, foreign sales, and public procurement. This latter is particularly important for firms operating with cultural goods, since it represents an important source of financing in many cases. For the results, a hierarchical, moderated, multiple regression analysis shows that inbound and coupled open innovation positively influence product and process innovation, while outbound and coupled open innovation positively influence organizational innovation. So our results suggest that coupled open innovation is particularly important in order to achieve whole products, process, and organizational innovation. What about the family dimension? Results are interesting since for higher levels of inbound or outbound open innovation, family firms have higher product innovation performance than non-family firms. For higher levels of coupled open innovation, family firms have higher process innovation performance than non-family firms. For higher levels of inbound open innovation, family firms have lower organizational innovation performance than non-family firms. While for higher levels of outbound open innovation, family firms have higher organizational innovation performance than non-family firms. To conclude, previous research has under-investigated the impact of different open innovation processes on the firm's innovativeness in terms of product, process, and organizational innovation. We used a unique dataset of 119 Italian firms applying high-tech for cultural goods, contributing to both theory and practices. From a theoretical standpoint, we show that open innovation processes influence the three dimensions of a firm's innovativeness, product, process, and organizational innovation at different levels. And we also contributed to literature on family firms, adding to previous research on the differences between family firms and non-family firms with respect to open innovation, and adding to the ability-willingness paradox contributions. Indeed, our findings suggest that family firms are usually more able than non-family firms to deal with higher levels of openness. However, family firms also seem to underperform on organizational innovation when they record to higher levels of inbound open innovation. So it seems that there is a threshold after which family firms are better able to exploit inbound open innovation for product innovation, outbound open innovation for product and organizational innovation, coupled innovation for process innovation. These might be explained by the fact that family firms could suffer of a learning gap when the level of open innovation processes is low, while they are good in benefiting more from their non-family counterparts when the level of openness is higher. On the other side, they face an ability gap in exploiting inbound open innovation for organizational innovation, and this gap could derive from lower managerial capabilities, for example. Indeed, this study is not without limitations, from the sample size to also its composition, and further research is needed. In particular, as stated at the beginning, one interesting research would be to investigate the heterogeneity of family firms. For the moment, we thank you for your attention and we wish to further discuss with you our paper, both virtually and hopefully very soon in presence.